The fluorescent lights flickered above the grimy linoleum floor. The grocery store hummed with tired carts and half-hearted conversations. At register 6, Jack stood still, a mountain of a man made smaller by the weight of counting coins in his rough hand, 3 quarters, 2 dimes, and a nickel. His thumb hovered over a single crumpled dollar. He glanced at his daughter, Mia, 7 eyes wide, clutching a single chocolate-dipped ice cream cone, the kind that always melted too fast. "This one?" "Please," Jack murmured, sliding the treat across the scanner. A boy, no older than 20, gave a quick nod, then frowned as the screen blinked red. Total, single quotes, S... $2.25. Jack stiffened. He checked his palm again, came up short by 45 cents. Behind him, the line grew longer. A woman in heels shifted her weight. A teenager tapped his foot. A baby somewhere wailed in protest. The kind of moment where the world turns in on you. Jack cleared his throat, already reaching to return the cone. "Sorry, buddy. We'll get it next time." Mia's face fell, her hands slowly loosening. Then, a voice, soft but certain, behind them. "Add the groceries too." The cashier looked up. "Excuse me?" he asked. The woman nodded once. "Whatever they've got. Put it on my tab." Jack turned. She was tall, elegant, not flashy, just ... composed a tailored coat, hair in a clean knot, eyes that didn't flinch. Jack tried to speak, but she was already placing her items on the belt. Avoiding his stare, Mia's fingers tightened. Around the cone, Jack swallowed hard. The ice cream beeped again. This time, approved the woman said nothing. Just smiled at Mia, then turned away. The automatic doors whooshed open. Jack stepped out carrying 2 paper bags, 1 in each arm. The early evening air smelled like concrete dust and distant rain. Mia skipped beside him, still clutching the now smeared ice cream-like treasure. Jack walked in silence, his boots heavy, heart heavier. They stopped beside the rusted pickup, blue paint peeling like old wallpaper. He set the bags down in the bed of the truck and reached into his back pocket for the receipt. That's when he noticed something tucked between the folds. Not just a receipt, a card. Simple white, embossed letters. A Corwin, CEO Vervain Logistics. He stared. Recognition slow-burning. Vervain was everywhere. Semi-trucks, on highways, logos on packaging, even the delivery vans in their own neighborhood. He turned the card over. Nothing else. Just a phone number. "What's that?" Mia asked between licks. Jack quickly slid it back into his pocket. "Just trash," he muttered. Mia nodded, unconcerned, and leaned into his side. She was nice. He gave a half smile. Yeah, she was. They climbed into the truck. Jack sat for a moment before turning the key. Engine sputtered, then caught with a tired growl as he pulled out. He glanced in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see her. The parking lot was empty. No heels, no coat, no woman. Only her gesture lingered quiet, precise. Unspoken Jack looked down at the card once more before tossing it into the glove box. Not trash, but not something he wanted to owe either. He tapped the steering wheel in rhythm, a habit from long ago. From before, Mia sang softly beside him, off-key but full dash-hearted. The receipt fluttered against the windshield. The truck rumbled up a cracked driveway, its headlights casting long shadows over the small one-story house, paint-chipped, fence-leaning, but there was a light glowing in the front window, soft amber. Like someone still hoped in their dot, Jack killed the engine. Mia carried a bag twice her size through the squeaky front door, humming the same tune she always hummed when she was happy. Off-key pure. Jack followed, his boots thudding against the floorboards. Inside. The house was neat, in a careful, quiet kind of way. Dishes drying in a rack, a blanket folded just so on the couch. And in the corner of the living room, framed in wood and dust, a photo sat on a small table. A woman smiling, holding a newborn. Jack set a can of peaches next to the photo. Then a small bundle of daisies from the discount bin. His fingers hovered above the frame before pulling back. "Hey, Dad." Mia called from the kitchen. What was Mom's favorite song again? Jack's throat tightened. He didn't answer at first. She liked a lot of songs, he finally said. But you said there was one she always sang, Mia pressed. Jack turned to the photo again. Eyes clouded. "Autumn Leaves," he said softly. "The old version? With the strings?" Mia peeked around the corner. Will you teach me that one on piano someday? Jack's silence lingered. We'll see, he said. Maybe. The silence returned, thicker now. Not sad, just full. Full of everything unspoken, Mia walked back to her room. Jack sat in the armchair. Staring at the photo, outside, the wind picked up, whispering through the broken fence, like music with no lyrics, late at night. After Mia had fallen asleep, one arm over her stuffed bear, the other holding a crayon drawing of a piano, Jack sat alone at the kitchen table. The house was quiet except for the fridge, humming like an old man trying to stay awake. Jack reached into the glove box where he'd shoved the card earlier. He laid it flat on the table, stared at the embossed name like it held some kind of secret. A Corwin. He picked up his cracked phone and typed the name into the search bar. The first result showed her face. Polished, but familiar. Same eyes, same calm. CEO of Vervain Logistics. The headline read, former musician, Harvard grad, single. Jack scrolled, photos of awards, a video clip from a conference, then an old article buried deep. Corwin credits her discipline to growing up in a working-class home, raised by a mother who played piano in a church basement. He leaned back, arms crossed. The same woman who paid for their groceries was worth millions. He remembered her voice. Gentle, but not weak. Why had she done it? He opened his mouth, as if to ask her aloud, but the room stayed still. No answer. Jack picked up the card and walked to the trash, paused, then tossed it in. It landed face up. He turned away, jaw tight. Not everything kind is free, and not every offer is without weight. From the hallway, Mia's voice broke the silence. Daddy, can I play piano like Mom? Jack didn't answer, but his hands clenched slightly on the doorframe. The card still shone in the trash, white against the dark. Morning came in softly, with golden sunlight cutting through dusty blinds. Jack poured weak coffee into a chipped mug as Mia scrambled to zip her backpack. Don't forget your lunch, he called. I won't. She kissed the air and bolted out the door, her ponytail bouncing behind her. Jack sipped his coffee, staring at nothing. He didn't see the yellow envelope until he went to make her bed. Folded inside was a note with the school letterhead. Dear Mr. Callan, Mia has shown remarkable musical instinct during group class. She's been invited to participate in our winter recital. As this will include a solo portion, we encourage at-home practice. A piano or keyboard would be helpful. Ms. Kent. Jack read it twice. Then a third time, he dropped into the kitchen chair with a thud. A piano. He looked around their tiny home. There was no space, no money. No time at the school that afternoon. Ms. Kent met him at the gate. Kind eyes, wool coat, fingers stained with chalk. She's special, you know, she said. Jack nodded. She's her mother's daughter. Ms. Kent hesitated. I know someone who might be able to help. An old student, successful, has some extra instruments. Jack's eyebrows lifted. She runs a company now, but still believes in gifting opportunity. Jack's expression darkened. I don't want charity. Ms. Kent didn't flinch. Then don't call it that. Call it an investment in your daughter. Jack glanced down at Mia across the field, twirling in the wind like a leaf that refused to fall. He didn't answer, but something inside him tilted. Barely a crack in pride. Late afternoon, Jack crouched beneath his truck, oil-stained hands tightening a stubborn bolt. The garage door was open to let in the breeze, but it only brought the smell of rust and wet leaves. Mia sat on a stool, coloring a music staff with crooked notes. Then came a knock, not on the front. Door. Right on the metal frame of the garage. Jack slid out from under the truck, squinting. There she was, Corwin. Not in a boardroom. No cameras. No PR team. Just jeans, boots, a navy coat, and a small digital piano in her arms. Jack stood, wiping his hands on a rag. You came here, he asked, stiff. She set the piano down gently. Ms. Kent said Mia needed this. We're fine, Jack said quickly. We didn't ask, she smiled. No, but she did. Jack looked over. Mia waved shyly. I don't want handouts, Jack muttered. It's not a handout, she said. It's a piano. You can call it a loan, if it helps. Her tone was calm, but it pressed like pressure on a bruise. He hesitated. Then Mia spoke up. Is that for me? Silence. Jack met the woman's eyes. They weren't smug, just steady, like someone who'd heard the word no a lot in life. Finally, Jack exhaled. "All right," he said, voice low, "but only till she learns one song." The CEO smiled, brushing dust from the keyboard. "That's all it takes." As she turned to leave, Mia ran a finger along the keys. No sound yet, but the weight of potential was louder than silence. From her car, the CEO looked back once, her face unreadable, like she'd just returned. Something that once belonged to her, the digital piano, sat crooked on an old wooden crate. Dust motes danced in the air, caught in soft shafts of afternoon light filtering through the open. Garage door. Mia stood before it like a pilgrim meeting something holy. She touched one key, hesitant, then another. A clumsy sound echoed off metal shelves and stacked tires. Jack leaned against the workbench, arms crossed, trying not to show his heart slipping. "Go on," he said. She played a third note, then a fourth, offbeat, jarring, but her face lit up like she'd lit a match in the dark. Jack walked over slowly and sat beside her on an old folding chair. "Let's try the scale," he said, gently pressing a key beside hers. "Like this, do re mi." Their fingers moved together out of time, imperfect but steady. He hadn't played in years, not since he closed his eyes. In his mind, a woman's voice, warm and thin, singing autumn leaves in the kitchen as she stirred soup with one hand and played chords with the other. His chest tightened, but he opened his eyes. Mia was watching him, eyebrows furrowed in concentration. "I want to be good," she whispered. "You will," Jack said. "You just have to listen harder than the world wants you to." Outside, a breeze nudged the garage door, letting in the smell of pine. A black car sat parked across the street. Inside, a Corwin watched silently through the windshield, expression unreadable. She didn't get out, just listened. And for a moment, her hand hovered over the steering wheel like it remembered something. The music, broken as it was, reached her. And she stayed. Next morning, Jack stood outside a downtown cafe, wiping grease from his hands onto his jeans. He felt out of place, a work boot in a world of polished shoes. Inside, the cafe buzzed with quiet luxury, hanging lights, soft jazz. Conversations spoken in lowercase a. Corwin sat in a corner booth, alone, coffee in hand. She waved him over, not cheerfully, just simply. Jack slid into the seat across from her. "I don't drink coffee," he said. "That's all right," she replied. "Neither did I when I started in this town." He studied her, sharp lines softened by exhaustion. Not makeup. Life. "Why are we here?" he asked. "I want to offer you something," she said, his shoulders tensed. "If this is about charity, it's not. I run logistics. One of our drivers left its warehouse to client routes. You checking my pay stubs now?" "No," she said, "but I've seen your truck." "And your hands?" He looked down at them, calloused, split knuckles. Oil under every nail. "I'm not here to be saved," he muttered. She leaned in. "Then don't be, just work." Jack glanced away. "Why me?" "Because you didn't ask for anything," she said. "And you're still showing up." A silence settled between them. Not cold, not warm, just real. Outside, a street musician strummed a slow tune on a weathered guitar. Jack's ear twitched. He could still hear the wrong notes. She slid a paper across the table. Job details, schedule, salary, Mo strings. Jack didn't pick it up, but his eyes lingered. Later that night, in his garage, Jack pulled out his old work boots from a dusty box. They still fit, just barely. The loading dock buzzed with morning energy. Forklifts beeped. Men in safety vests yelled over the hum of trucks backing in. Vervain Logistics was a machine, cold, precise, bigger than he remembered. Jack parked his truck in the far lot, away from the polished company vans. He sat there for a beat, looking down at his old ID badge. The photo was younger, lighter, before he stepped out. Boots meeting gravel like they belonged there inside. The warehouse floor stretched wide, a sea of moving boxes, blinking scanners, and distant voices on radios, familiar rhythms, same metal temps in the air. But this time, he wasn't management. He was the driver. The shift lead, a kid named Cole, handed him a clipboard. "You're Jack Callan, right? Route 7. Trucks loaded. First drops in Midtown." Jack nodded, took the keys, and moved on. No chit-chat, just purpose. As he opened the truck's cab, His back flinched, that old injury whispering like a ghost. He swallowed it. Hour after hour, Jack delivered. Boxers, crates, envelopes, a rhythm of moving other people's weight. By sundown, sweat traced down his spine. He wiped his brow, rolling his shoulders with a wince. Across the lot, through a glass pane above the office wing, a Corwin stood by the window, watching, not with pity, but with memory. As Jack stepped out of the truck, his limp showed slight, but visible. She didn't turn away, just stood there, hands clasped behind her back, eyes narrowed, and something in her gaze shifted, as if a file cabinet in her mind had just clicked open. Rain ticked gently against the glass. Office windows inside her corner suite, A. Corwin stood alone, surrounded by clean lines and expensive silence. She pulled out an old employee ledger, flipping through names like forgotten chapters. Then she stopped. Callan, Jack. Date of injury. March 9th, report filed. March 11th, resolution. Voluntary separation agreement. No litigation. She stared at the file. Voluntary. She remembered that winter snow thick on the docks, labor down, slips, injuries. One man fell hard and didn't get upright. She hadn't been CEO then, just a consultant. But now, it was her company, and that file, it was her responsibility. She turned to the HR archive terminal and pulled up internal memos. Back injury, limited movement, advised modified role, request denied, employee refused reassignment, severance paid, refused, or forced out. Back in the warehouse, Jack unloaded another crate. He paused, clutching his side, the pain stabbing sharper now. He didn't complain. He didn't ask for breaks, but she saw it through every missed step, every quiet wince. Later that night, she closed the HR file and folded her arms. This wasn't about favors. This was about an old wound. Left open to long dot down in the break room, Jack sat alone at a vending machine. He inserted a crumpled dollar. The candy bar got stuck halfway down the coil. He stared at it for a moment, then laughed, quiet and hollow. Sometimes, even small things don't fall when they should. Back upstairs, a Corwin made a call. Pull every injury file from 2012 to 2016, she said. Especially logistics personnel. May I ask why, ma'am? She didn't answer right away. She just whispered, because ghosts don't go away. They limp beside you. The invitation came folded in a bright blue envelope, sealed with a gold sticker shaped like a treble clef. Mia held it like it was glass. Jack opened it carefully. Inside, the school's music teacher had written in neat cursive. Mia Callan has been selected to perform a solo at the City Youth Music Showcase. Her talent and heart have earned her this honor. Please confirm attendance. Rehearsal schedule enclosed. Jack's breath caught. His finger traced the words again. Mia danced in mismatched socks, playing invisible piano with both hands in the air. When is it? She asked. He read the details again. Saturday, 2 weeks from now, 5 p.m. Mia lit up. You'll come, right? He nodded slowly. Course I will. Then his eyes caught something else. Rehearsal dates. One of them clashed with his night shift. And the showcase itself. The same night as a scheduled double shift, mandatory deliveries. He folded the paper silently. Mia didn't see the hesitation in his hands, only the promise in his voice. At dinner, she practiced bowing with a paper towel roll like it was a microphone. Jack smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Later, while she slept, he checked the warehouse schedule. No one was allowed to switch on City. Contracts, he shut the screen. Pressed his palm to his temple. He had made a promise, but promises didn't pay the bills, and stages didn't wait for working men outside. A siren cried, somewhere distant. Inside, the house stood still, full of dreams and deadlines. The City Hall auditorium buzzed with soft chatter and folding chairs. Strings of white lights framed the stage. Parents held phones like torches ready to capture magic. Backstage, Mia sat nervously in her pressed dress, fingers shaking just slightly above the keys of her small practice board. Her teacher knelt beside her. You're ready, sweetheart? Mia nodded. My dad's coming. The teacher smiled gently. I'm sure he is. Across town, Jack stood behind the wheel of the delivery truck, the last crate still on his manifest. Rain tapped the windshield like an impatient clock. He checked the time. 5:02 to dot his shift. Supervisor's voice echoed in his head. No early clockouts on double shift days. Jack, you knew the policy. Jack's jaw tightened. He looked down at the last box, then at the dashboard. Then, he started the engine. By the time he reached the auditorium, it was already quiet. The lobby was half empty, decorations being taken down, volunteers folding programs into boxes. He walked in, chest tight. On stage, Mia stood at the edge, clutching a bouquet. Her face was blank, too still for a child. She saw him, her lip trembled. I waited. Jack swallowed hard. I tried, I played your song. She said then turned away. His hands dropped to his sides. From the far end of the hall, Corwin watched. She had been there the whole time, quiet in the last row. She saw Mia's back walk away, and she saw Jack crumble, piece by piece, in the middle of a beautiful stage that wasn't meant for men who arrive late. Outside, the rain had stopped, but the damage had already landed. The office lights were dim when Jack knocked. He expected to be turned away. Instead, Corwin looked up from her desk and simply said, "Come in." He stepped in, soaked through, shoulders weighed with silence. "I wasn't going to come here," he muttered. "You did?" she replied. He stayed standing. "She played our song and I missed it." Corwin closed her laptop gently. "You didn't miss it. You missed her." That cut. Jack looked down, then back at her. "You ever miss something that never comes back?" Corwin stood and walked to a shelf near the window. On it, an old photograph. A woman at a piano, head tilted mid-laugh. Her mother, she played bar gigs, church basements, anywhere with keys. But when my father left, she put the music away. Said bills didn't wait for dreams. Jack studied her face. For once, she looked like someone who'd lost something too. "She got sick," Corwin continued. "Worked through it. Died with music still inside her." Silence. I told myself I'd never let survival kill what made us human. Jack's voice cracked. "Feels like I'm always choosing wrong." "You're choosing alone," she said softly. "There's a difference." They stood there, two shadows with matching regrets. "I'm not offering pity, Jack," she said. "I'm offering help. Real help. Structure. Flexibility. Enough to let your daughter see you front row." He didn't nod, didn't speak, but something in his silence shifted. A memory returned, not of failure, but of promise. "You think it's too late?" he asked quietly. Corwin's reply came with weight. "I think it's always too late until it isn't." And just like that, the silence between them turned from sharp to soft. The garage was cold again. Not from weather, but from the weight of decision. Jack sat at the small wooden table where Mia once practiced scales. The digital piano was covered with a blanket, a half-empty coffee mug sat beside a blank sheet of paper. He stared at it for a long time, then slowly began to write. "To whom it may concern, please accept this letter as formal notice of resignation." The words scratched like sandpaper. "I appreciate the opportunity, but I can no longer work shifts that steal me from my daughter." He stopped, crossed it out, started again. This time, it wasn't professional. It was honest. "I missed her song." Just that, he folded the paper, slid it into an envelope, and wrote Corwin on the front dot at the office the next morning. He arrived early. She wasn't in yet. He walked into her office, the door slightly ajar, and placed the envelope on the desk. No note, no explanation, just a quiet end to something that never really fit. As he turned to leave, his eyes landed on the photo of her mother again, still smiling in mid-laughter. Fingers over ivory keys. Jack paused. "Wish you could have heard her," he whispered, then shut the door behind him. What he didn't know was this. Later that day, Corwin returned to her office, saw the envelope, read the letter, and didn't file it. She folded it once, placed it inside a piano book, and tucked it into her drawer. Some letters weren't meant for HR. Some were meant to be, returned later with a different ending. The gala hall shimmered with gold-trimmed curtains and a grand chandelier that looked like it held every star that ever fell. Rows of velvet seats filled with donors, parents, teachers. The city's elite whispered politely over programs that listed names they rarely remembered. Backstage, Mia stood in a satin dress, far too elegant for a girl who once practiced on a piano propped up by milk crates. Her hands shook slightly. Her teacher knelt beside her, whispering, Just feel it. Don't play for them. Play for you. Mia glanced through the curtain. Front row, center, Jack Dot in a pressed shirt. Clean boots. Hair still messy, but face softened. He looked nervous. Beside him, a Corwin. No clipboard, no phone, just stillness. The lights dimmed. A hushed Mia stepped onto the stage. The grand piano waited like a sleeping dragon, black and polished. Swallowing her reflection, she sat, took a breath, and played. Not perfectly, but deeply. A haunting arrangement. The melody of autumn leaves, slow and aching, with stumbles only a father could recognize. Jack's hands clenched on his knees, then slowly opened. When the final note lingered and silence filled the hall like breath, before a storm, Mia stood. "I'd like to dedicate this song," she said, voice barely above a whisper, "to the man who gave up his music, so I could find mine." Gasps. A few soft tears. Jack looked down. Unable to meet anyone's eyes, Corwin reached over, didn't say a word, just rested her hand over his, firm. And for once, Jack didn't pull away. Mia bowed, and in that moment, she didn't look like a little girl. She looked like the crescendo of every choice Jack had made Sunday morning. Sunlight spilled into the kitchen like a quiet apology. Jack stirred pancake batter, humming under his breath. Mia sat at the table, still in her gala curls, coloring stars onto the back of the program from last night's performance. The house felt lighter for the first time in years. It felt like music lived in the walls again. A knock came at the door. Jack opened it. No. Just a small white envelope resting on the doormat. He picked it up, plain no name. Inside, a folded grocery store receipt from weeks ago. The one he thought he lost, the one from the night. He couldn't afford ice cream taped to it was a handwritten note, paid in full. Jack stared at it for a long moment. The corners of his eyes creased, not from confusion, but from something deeper, something closer to peace. He walked back inside and pinned the receipt on the fridge, right next to Mia's performance photo. A receipt, a memory, a full-circle gesture. No debt, no strings, just grace. That afternoon, Mia sat at the piano, fingers moving with new confidence. Jack watched her arms crossed. "Should I teach you another one?" he asked. She grinned. "Only if I can teach you one." "Two," he chuckled. "Deal." Outside, wind carried the scent of spring. Inside, the piano played, a little off, a little loud, but perfect. They walked down the road later that day, father and daughter, hand in hand, no destination, just music and their steps. Behind them, the house stood quiet, not broken, just finally, whole.